Hello world, Frida Reba Darcy and Patricia O'Connor here today on the Bonsai Balcony. Goodies for one and all. Today on the Bonsai Balcony, it is feeding time. Indeed, a little blown out picture of Frida there. And blown out picture, look how red those reds are. That's our fall colors finally coming in this. It's late afternoon. The sky looks a little bit more blue to me than it looks a little bit more washed out to y'all possibly. But that side is sundown. This is our afternoon, late afternoon on the Bonsai Balcony. I turned the timer off so that it wouldn't shut the lights off in the middle of the show. And what we're going to talk about today is a couple of things. One, Happy New Year. What is that you say? New Year. In a way, this is the start of the growing season. I mean, if your trees are already changing the color of their leaves and they're already defoliating, or they're already lost all their leaves for the year, then the process has switched. It's no longer producing foliage. It's no longer doing as much photosynthesis. I say as much because this guy, for instance, is still hanging in there. And this evergreen here will photosynthesize all year round. But on our deciduous trees, whenever we start seeing these fall colors, and whenever our foliage is finally well and truly gone for the season, that's when the thunder down under begins. That's whenever sometimes we'll see our trees rising up a little, heaving up in their pots a little as the roots expand and grow. They're taking all of the energy that was derived from here, which is now leaving the room and going down into the roots, and they are transferring that energy into root mass, and that root mass will get carried over into spring. And in spring, when we see all of those new buds starting to push out, we kind of look at that and think of that as the beginning of the year. You know, New Year's was just a month or two behind us, and now look, we've got all this new year. But to my way of thinking, it all starts with the roots. The stuff that we made with this foliage then gets transferred over the roots, and then it makes more roots out of that, and then out of that it makes new starter foliage next spring. So it all starts with this. I don't want to get too carried away. I've still got too much beautiful foliage to look at. Let's take back up and take a good gander at all of those colors. It looks like the gain is turned up to oh holy heck, because those colors are just so vibrant. Those are true colors. So yeah, Happy New Year, which is in keeping to that end, I have gone and made sure that all of our bio gold has been redispersed. I take 3 or 4 of these and I disperse it to an area about yay big. And this would be an area about yay big, and this would be an area about yay big. And then back there, and then back there. Kind of the same here. And I went through today and watered. I didn't water this guy. I haven't watered this tree in a few days. It's still dark in there. It's still damp. I'm gonna give it more time. I'm gonna give it more time to dry out before I go back in and water it. I think the color's looking good. I think the tree's looking good. I think our graft that has taken off is growing like a bad weed. If it's a good weed, you go graft it, keep going. You can see some of the brown ones around there that probably didn't take. I'm saying probably. I mean, they're still welcome to put out some green needles if they wanted to. But yeah, anyway, we got one good one that we can see there, and I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy to have what we have. Everything else looks like we're on the recovering end. I haven't seen any more in the way of aphids here or on any of my other trees. I've been going back over and giving them a really closer look. But if you look now, you'll see a lot of my trees have been have got new applications. You can see the little white specks there. Those are all the little ball of gold lumps. And I was asked about the hollow feature on this oak, and how that would be typically done. When I got this tree, the hollow feature was already done. It had already been put in place, and it was beautiful, and it was also heart shaped. But I don't think the person who cut the hollow feature in the tree cut a heart shaped feature. I think as it started healing, it just kind of healed. It just kind of healed in such a way to where one end kind of wanted to close up faster than the other. I'm about to rotate this tree in front of y'all. That's why I just set down camera. So when it came time for me to mess with this tree and open that feature up more, I didn't want to do anything phony or fake. Part of what I loved about its hollow feature was that it was natural looking to me. I didn't think anybody had cut a heart shape. I thought the tree had done that itself, and there was something beautiful about that. You know, and it wasn't a perfect heart. It was kind of a stylized heart, which also made it kind of cooler. But I wouldn't have gone back and tried to replicate that, because to make a hollow feature is to get it right pretty much in itself, unless you try to copy something or unless you try to make some artistic statement and then get it wrong. And there's so many ways to get it wrong that I didn't even want to go down that path. But when we're talking about hollow features, how something like that is done, most of the time when I see that done, somebody comes in the top with a drill bit. Like, you know, this would have been done years ago, perhaps. So that could have been there way back in the day. Whoop, you know, kind of coming in that way. Or it literally could have been this spot right here. Could have healed over from where they went straight down with a drill bit and hollowed that out. And then that'll immediately fill up with water every time it rains. And that will rot out the inside, which seems kind of scary on the surface. But you got to remember, the part of the tree, of the trunk that's alive, are these couple of layers just below the bark. Everything else is filler. It's like lattice. It's not actually living tissue. When I went through on these cypress trees and cut back those wedges, the part that I cut out of the center, that heartwood, was not living tissue. The stuff that rolls over, the part of the bark and the cambium and all that stuff, that's living tissue. But when you drill a hole in the top and that fills up with water because it's a hole that's kind of like this, then that will rot out that filler material. Just to let you know, I mean, nature does this quite often. That's one of the reasons we have such a hard time aging our oldest ponderosas, is because they tend to rot out that part of the tree naturally at almost 1,000 years old. At 800 years or something, there's usually the center of the tree is missing, making it really difficult to get an accurate count of how many rings it has. So that's something trees will naturally do, is they will hollow out. Also, if you've seen trees that have gotten involved in some weird fire or something, you can see smoke coming out of a hollow feature, and people will literally put a hose down there and put out the tree, and they continue to grow fine. That doesn't always kill them or necessarily kill them. So drill a hole in the top, let it fill up with water, and then that will rot out the material, and then you can come in down here at the bottom and make a little opening shape where it would hollow out, or where the water would run to, and that will just hollow out naturally. or you can do what was done here and make a hole, and that hole would pick up the hole that you drilled through from the top. And that's basically it's basically how you would make a hollow feature. A lot of people that have cypress trees will take those chops that are kind of hard to see now because of all the foliage, but they'll take those wedge-shaped chops and they'll take with chainsaws and just gouge out the center of them, making sure that that rollover is rolling over and headed towards the other side that's rolling over towards it, and there's not some raising up material in between them for that rollover to ride on, because that would look lumpy or look unnatural or look something, and you want that rollover to quickly act like a zipper and close up that cut. Well, that's all of this in the center you just take out so that your rollover will continue to roll over and not ride over it. And that's kind of what's going on. You know, that's how hollow features would kind of relate to what we were doing here with our bald cypress trees. You can go back a few shows and see where I took to these guys with a small chainsaw and a Makita cordless router, and a sanding disc on an impact gun. That was also cordless. And that's how I got the shape in those. But those same tools could have turned around and been used here. I could have used a drill to drill a hole in the top, and then, as I did recently, I went back with my router and opened this hole up so it doesn't close up. I probably should have opened it up more than I did, because this dictates how many years I get before I have to do that again. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on there. Feeding time, check. Got our food out, check. Got our roots being built. I'm kind of going over a list of the things that I had intended to discuss today. It's another warm day here, and when we were doing some cutting back here the other day, when we did that, I didn't cut this trident maple back. And I think it could use that as well. And especially if this stuff is going to continue to bud out, I should put some influence over what buds out, where it buds out, and how much it goes. So I don't need more growth out here. I don't know that I need that. If this continues to thrive, I'll cut this. Right now I'm using it for an anchor for the top though also. So yeah, there. And I would like to cut more of this back, but we'll cut that back to there now. Also, by doing this, we are changing up the hormonal allocation there and possibly activating more bud growth. We'll see. I'm just going to trim this stuff. I wouldn't expect this to survive, nor necessarily this branch to survive the winter. But if it stays warm like it is, we might get some more growth out of it between now and then. Who knows? It could change. It could change that. So I'm just going to go back through and cut all of these back, at least a little. The ones I want to keep, I'll leave that alone. Leave that. Well, tell you what, let's just do this. All right, let's do this. Change your plan. Go there. Then we'll go there. 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 All right. So I'm trying to take advantage of the, if it's going to be warmer weather like it has been and is being, and it's going to bud out, then the closer we get to 70, the more I'm seeing stuff bud out. And by pruning our tips back, we will be releasing the hormone auxin, which should increase bud growth even more than what it's already doing. And all of that thing combined should play right into our evil hands. And look, can you get a glimpse at how many? I'm going to cast a shadow on that sort of. There is so many buds. Oh yeah, sorry neighbor, downstairs neighbor. There is so many. Can you? Look how many buds are in there. Now I should let that just let those guys all go and let them fight it all out. Because what we really want is all that stuff to close up that gap. And yeah, and that's what that'll do for us. And you know, I was talking about this being these two fuse. I don't really know if that's the right word. Maybe they'll fuse. Maybe they'll just roll over one another. You know, and that's what we will get as far as fusion is concerned. And the sunset is blowing that out. So, are you okay with that, Pat? That could. No, I'm doing the thing where I back up and look at it. Like back up and look at it, make a judgment, and that's gonna go. I'll tell you right now, that's gonna go. Where though? Right there. We'll let it go there. You all right? This is getting fat already. If it continues to grow out that way, it's just going to get fatter, and it needs to cut that out if it's going to stay. All right, we're going to call that done. Looking at how our rollover is going so far. This could come back farther. This could go away entirely. Maybe not. We'll see. I would rather chop this in lieu of this. I might put some wire on this guy to straighten its top too. But like I said, today we're probably in the mid 60s up here, and they're not calling for temperatures to be that warm, but that's what it's doing up here. And our lights can certainly keep stuff synthesizing. So if this Dawn Redwood wants to put out stuff, it's more than welcome. Everybody else seems to be doing good, and that's a quick look at our freshly rotated coastal oak. Do I have anything on this side that I haven't pruned? Yeah, a little bit. Get a couple here. Cut up. That's good. This could go. Oh, I found the dull part of the scissors. This is kind of what we did to the other side of the tree. And earlier, 2 weeks ago. So now I'm just going through and making sure I got everything I felt like I needed to get. Now that the tree is rotated, I think we did a pretty good job though. And again, we do this to try to, it's a little hormone release trick that we're implementing to try to increase back buds. More back buds, please. Excuse me. All right, that's good. Good enough. Good, all right. Like and subscribe if you guys have not already. our next drop we'll probably do a drop on Saturday and then turn around and do a drop Saturday night. I say that fairly confidently because I plan to bring in this tree on Saturday night, and we'll do a little unveil and see what's going on the trunk. And what that means is I'll pull back the string, I'll pull back the plastic bag, I'll get some more sphagnum moss ready, I'll get cutting utensils ready, and we will look and see if we have roots, how much roots. And this is not going to be a separation. Even if we see what I think are really terrific roots down there, I'm still going to cut it up and let it go. We won't, and that's, I doubt if that's going to happen. I would say it's probably more likely not to see as many. I'm not that sure that I'm seeing good health in the tree though. I mean, the tree is just putting out stuff. I've already pruned it back twice since we started this. So the tree is certainly active. What will probably happen is we'll prune this back. We may see something, we may see nothing, and then we will re-scrape the trunk and then repack it and then reapply hormones if we think we need to. And then we'll just put everything right back. Where I did the scrape back on this trunk is the first time is really where I want this guy, is really where I would like to see this guy root from. And if it's rooted now, fine. If it's rooted well now, even better. If it's not, no biggie. Like I said, we'll scrape it back and we haven't given up, or we haven't lost until we give up or lose the tree. So the tree's got plenty of vigor, and we're going to pull that back and have an unveiling, and then we will act accordingly. All the way up to separating the tree. I do not plan on separating the tree. I don't have a pot in mind that I even would take the cut tree onto. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to Saturday night. I don't know what's underneath there. Could be anything. I'm going to be just as in the dark as you are. So that's what we're doing Saturday night. Saturday day, we'll probably come out here and tromp around, kind of like what we're doing now. Our trees are largely doing well. My ponderosas are largely doing well. I also rotated my large pine over there. I was looking at this guy and I was wondering why it got the most heat damage. I think our tree is still alive. This isn't the beginning of a decline. This is just literally the foliage that got sucked hard by our heat spell. Oh, I'm not in the show here. I'm sorry. This is just some of the foliage that got, you can see how the color of that stuff turned. And you can also kind of see when it's on the balcony, you can kind of see where the reflection of the white wood on the balcony, where that reflection would be highest is where we see the most damage. Also, when I was looking at it earlier, it just occurred to me, this is the one, I really like this pot too, but this tree is probably the closest to underpotted. So that may have also played into how much damage it got. But I still expect good things from this tree, and pull back some of these spent needles, leave a few, and then just let it continue to go. This is a pretty little ponderosa, so that's what's going on there, and that's what's going on there. That's the catch up on those. That's the catch up on those. That's the answer on our fair. We prune back. All right, like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. As I stated earlier, we'll do our Saturday show, and then we'll do our Saturday night show. And I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you. Actually, She is sacked out hard right now. And I thank you so much for watching.